So it looks like we picked another good night to do a virtual event and not make people go out and drive in the big snowstorm we've got going out there. I don't know where you guys are, but it's coming down pretty hard out my way. So thanks for joining us on this virtual event. Tonight we are going to tell you just a little bit about Milk Money, about how it works, about investing local and why that is important and exciting. And then most important and exciting of all is we'll have a couple of our entrepreneurs who are raising capital through Milk Money here to tell you a little bit about their companies and what they're trying to do to grow their companies. We had a couple who are not able to be here today, so I will, some of them have sent a video and some other information, and I will try to fill in for them as best I can. But just to start off, I'm just going to give just some background on what this is all about. Milk Money was made possible, the idea behind Milk Money, which is an equity crowdfunding platform, was made possible through some updates to some Vermont state regulations called the Vermont Small Business Offering Exemption. And the big acronym for that is VSBO, VSBO, but we call it VSBO. And what VSBO allows us to do here in Vermont, it allows any Vermonter, regardless of net worth, to invest in local private placements in local companies, startups, entrepreneurs. Before this, investing in startups was really kind of the realm of angel investors, or what's called an accredited investor, people with a net worth of over $1 million outside their home, that kind of thing. VSBO allows any Vermonter, like I said, anyone, regardless of net worth, is now able to invest in Vermont businesses. So when Louisa and I learned about the changes to these regulations, we set about to build Milk Money to just make this all easier to do. And we like to say the Department of Financial Regulation made it possible. Now we're making it easier. So we created the Milk Money website where entrepreneurs can come work with us to get their campaigns all ready, official, get their official offering documents done appropriately, run through the Department of Financial Regulation to make sure that everything there is, they've crossed all their T's and dotted their I's in terms of what the state recommends or requires for information to be shared with potential investors. And then we take that information, put it up on their campaign page on our website. So each campaign that's up there, they can be accessed from our homepage. You first have to register as an investor and prove that you are a Vermonter by uploading a photo of your driver's license. And as soon as that comes through, we approve it and it comes back to you, and then you are able to come into our site, into the private part of our site, password protected part of our site, and see all of the information, anything that you need to know to be able to make an investment in one of our really cool Vermont companies. All the offering documents are there, their financial projections, their business plan, all the signature pages and the instructions for how you would make your investment. It's all right there on our website, and making it easy for you to find. The other thing that we do through Milk Money is just try to build the awareness around the state that this opportunity exists. And so that's why we've been doing a number of events like this over the past 12 to 14 months. A lot of them we've done in person as evening events where you can come and we'll basically talk to you live. And this is the second time that we're trying to do that we are doing a virtual event, which it just, in many ways, it's a lot easier because we can all do this from the comfort of our own home and not drive on the snowy roads. And the idea here is to give investors, potential investors, the opportunity to learn about what we're doing, ask questions, and meet the entrepreneurs. So I'll tell you a little bit more about how it actually works on our website. As I mentioned, the entrepreneurs, anyone who is looking to raise capital, typically companies that are they're typically not pure startups, as in, they're just an idea in somebody's head. We do like to work with companies that have a little bit of a proven concept, maybe a couple sales. that they're showing that there is indeed some interest for what they're doing. Um, and we work with them to complete their business plan and work it into the offering document and then get it up on our site and then start to tell their story. It's important to us to find those companies that really have a great story, and we're finding so many of them that are doing some very cool things. Um, in addition, we help to process the paperwork and the investment. Once someone decides to make an investment, they're going to send their check and their signature pages to us at VSECU, who is our business partner. And VSECU actually helps to process the actual checks and holds the money in escrow for each company. So you are investing directly in a company, writing a check to that company. It will go sit in their account at VSECU until they reach a minimum offering amount. The Department of Financial Regulation requires that every entrepreneur or every campaign sets their maximum target, their goal for what they're trying to raise. Say it's $100,000, and once they have set that, you'll find all this information in their offering document. They must meet 25% of that goal before they're allowed to access the funds. This is part of the rules that come from the state. It's a protection for investors because what the Department of Regulation is trying to do is to make sure that a company is getting enough capital to really make a difference in their business. They want to make sure that there's kind of a saying that you don't want to give a new business owner just enough money that instead of the plane taking off the ground, you give them just enough money to kind of fly off the edge of the cliff. You want to make sure that you're giving them enough money to actually do something. This has to be spelled out in their offering documents and the use of proceeds section of their offering documents. This is part of what Louisa and I work with all of these campaigns to really think through the types of funds that they need, the amount of funds that they need, and how they'll be spending this money. Some other, just from an investor standpoint, what it means from your perspective is this is your opportunity to invest in your company or invest in your state, invest in your community, invest in businesses that you've heard about. Maybe you see their products on the store shelves, or you've seen them at the local farmers market, or you've seen news stories about companies that are doing some pretty cool things right here in our little state of Vermont that often are looking to expand. A lot of the companies that we're working with, they want to use the funds to hire a sales manager or maybe a production manager. So that means that they're adding jobs and creating jobs in our community by using your investment dollars to increase their employee base. This is how you contribute to the Vermont economy, by investing in these companies that are then growing, employing folks, and also oftentimes they are sourcing the things that they need to run their business from other Vermont businesses. And it's just a multiplier effect throughout the community, and it really keeps wealth circulating through the Vermont economy. Whereas when you're investing on Wall Street, or in mutual funds, that money is, going out of state more often than not. You don't necessarily know where it's going. One of the great benefits of investing local is this line of sight that you have directly to an entrepreneur, to a business. You can meet them in person if you want. We've facilitated this on several occasions where people are coming to our website, they get interested in the company, they email us with a question, and we'll put them in direct contact with the entrepreneur. They talk on the phone, sometimes they meet for coffee. We're happy to facilitate those kinds of meetings so that you can really get to know where your money's going. That's an important piece of all of this. You need to be excited about where this money is going and know that you're investing in someone that you believe in and you believe in their idea. So that's one of the really fun parts of the job for Louisa and me is helping to make those connections. So as you are considering this concept, this type of investment. One thing I do want to let you know, you might notice up in the upper right corner of your screen there, you see our Milk Money logo. That's actually a live link. So at any time you can click that and you'll still be able to hear what's going on. You'll hear the talking, but you can go and just kind of scroll through our website if you like at any time during this talk. And part of what Louisa and I want to also reiterate with potential investors is to really think about once you've decided that investing local is something you want to do, just think through your savings, make sure it's something that that works with your particular savings and investment strategy. These are risky investments. We want to make that abundantly clear. Um, we do as much as we can on our side to try to put up campaigns that we believe have the best chance of success, but there's no guarantee. So they are risky investments, and you need to be prepared for the fact that you might lose all your money. On the other hand, you might be investing in the next Ben and Jerry's. So it's something that it's a personal decision, and we're here to help you get as much information as you need to make that decision and answer as many questions as we can for you. Just one last thing, I mentioned Ben and Jerry's. The VSBO regulation actually is an update of the regulations that Ben and Jerry's used back in 1984. They did a Vermont-only stock offering and raised over $750,000 to build their Waterbury plant just from Vermonters in increments as little as $126. That was their minimum investment amount. And we're basically just doing the same thing. The minimum investment amount for many of our campaigns is $250. We're trying to make this something that's as accessible as possible to all Vermonters if this is something that is really compelling to them. With that said, the average Vermonter can actually invest up to $10,000 in one particular company per year, if you are so moved to do that, and if it fits with your investment strategy. If you're an accredited investor, that's the folks I was talking about before of $1 million of net worth. There's no limit on how much you can invest. So just a few other things I just want to point out is, I did mention the $250 minimum investment. That does vary by company. One of the things, well, many things that we work on with them is helping them to decide what is the appropriate minimum investment. So of the campaigns that we have up, I think the minimum investment amount per investor ranges from $250 up to $2,500. So all of that information is listed on their campaign page. Also wanted to talk a little bit about what it is that you're actually getting for your investment, because this is unlike something like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. That is, those are crowdfunding sites, but they're donation based. That's where you are, you're giving your money to them, and you might get some kind of a gift or a CD or a DVD or something like that in return. But it's really a donation. This is an investment, and the type of security that you're investing in will depend on the company. Although for the most part, the campaigns that we have up on our site are offering what's called convertible debt. And what convertible debt is it's a great instrument. It's a great security for early stage companies to offer for a couple of reasons. First of all, most of the companies that come to us are organized as an LLC. In order to offer stock, you'd have to actually be a corporation. And for a lot of these earlier stage companies, organizing as a corporation just doesn't make sense at this stage of their development. An LLC is often best for them for many reasons. So that's one of the reasons why issuing equity or stock is actually not possible for an LLC. The other thing too is that for these early stage companies, in order to issue stock, you'd have to put a valuation. It's called a valuation on your company, where you say, I believe my company is worth $1 million. And so therefore, if I'm trying to raise $100,000, that's 10% of my company, and I'd be giving up 10% ownership of my company. that's a tough number to come up with. When you're an early stage company and maybe you had $25,000 in sales in the last year, and maybe you will grow to be, half a million to a million in sales in the next couple of years. But right now, it's kind of hard to actually get people to agree that, yeah, I think your company's worth $1 million. The entrepreneur would like to really, they believe it's worth $1 million, but it's tough for the investor sometime to see that in such an early stage company. So convertible debt removes that requirement to set a valuation on your company at this early stage when you still don't have enough of a track record on which to base this valuation. So convertible debt is used pretty widely across the country and has been used for quite a while, even with angel investors uh, to do early stage investments. The way it works, it is set up somewhat like a loan. Unlike a loan, you don't have to start making payments on it right away. If you go to a bank and get a loan, the next month you start making your payments. With convertible debt, you're given what we kind of call a grace period, typically 3 years, where no payments are made, although your investment is accruing interest. And so over the course of those 3 years, your investment would be accruing interest at a certain interest rate. It's all stated on our offering documents. At the end of those 3 years, ideally, the company has grown, and maybe at that point it does make sense for it to convert into a corporation, in which case equity or stock would be available. And at that point, you can convert your investment into equity. And what that means is it gives you, the investor, the opportunity to really take advantage of the growth of the company. That's the upside potential you might hear about in terms of investments, and where the growth potential is in owning equity. Um, but maybe at the end of 3 years the company's doing successful, it's doing fine, it's self-funding, and at that point maybe you choose, what, I don't need equity, I'd rather just get my investment repaid in the terms of a loan. And in which case, after those 3 years, then you would just be repaid. All the interest, the principal and interest that accrued over those 3 years would be repaid over time over a loan. So it gives you, the investor, the choice. It's called a voluntary conversion. You can choose to convert into equity, or you can choose to get your investment repaid in the form of a loan. It's a great tool for entrepreneurs because it allows them to not have to give up ownership of their company too early, and not have to put a valuation on. It's great for investors because it gives them the opportunity to convert into equity at some point in the future, if that's what, if the company is really growing. That's how you can realize the greatest return on your financial investment, is through equity. And also gives you the reward of being one of these early investors, because your investment is accruing interest over those first 3 years. And so that's kind of a little kicker, a little bonus for you. So we can answer more about convertible debt and how that works in the Q&A section at the end. But I did want to just kind of talk a little bit about it up front, because I think 4 of the 6 campaigns that we have up right now are organized with or are using convertible debt. So with that, I think I'm going to stop talking for now, and I'm going to turn it over to a couple of our entrepreneurs who are here tonight to tell you about their businesses. And so, Mike, if you can, yes, great. I see Michael, and if we could
the infinite.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, I'm on. Okay, can you all hear me? Wave, Janice or Louisa. Okay, good. So, hi everybody. I'm Michael Birnbaum. I'm founder and CEO of Kingdom Fiber, and I have turn this thing off. I have 40 years experience in communications, 12 of which as a manager owner of a successful internet service provider company in central Vermont. And my team is even more experienced than I am. So together as Kingdom Fiber, we're building out infrastructure to provide awesome broadband and phone service to much of Vermont's woefully underserved Northeast Kingdom. By using fiber optic technology, we'll bring speeds 1,000 to 10,000 times the typical, and these speeds should support the area for decades. There's a crying need in the kingdom. This wonderful region has low and declining population, high poverty, and low business counts. The kingdom has created creative and productive people. It's got an interstate highway. It's got proximity to major markets. So what's the need? The need is for infrastructure to incubate companies and the creative economy. And we all know that the digital economy is a huge part of our lives, and we already take this for granted. It's become as basic to us as water and food and clothing and shelter and power. But what if the available internet services are subpar? That's a problem in much of the kingdom. So we intend to be a big part of the solution. And here's why we're the best people for the job. Over the last 10 years, federal agencies invested over $4 million in various unconnected fiber networks in the kingdom. A few years ago, the state of Vermont spent another $1 million to build another network and interconnected them all. So now fully available, the NEK dark fiber network remains dark, and it's totally unused for broadband because the big corporations wouldn't work with the state. So it takes a smaller, locally based company like us that is willing and nimble enough to work with others for a reasonable return on investment. So here's what we did. We negotiated a 20-year agreement with the state of Vermont to lease and light this fiber to deliver services to all who it passes. In exchange for our connections to the network of hundreds and thousands of residences, businesses, and institutions, the state has agreed to accept our significant in-kind investment as payment for the long-term lease. We're also working closely with the town of Craftsbury, which is building its own half-mile dark fiber network to interconnect with the state one. So later this year, we're going to launch our True Broadband and Crystal Voice services to Hardwick, Greensboro, Craftsbury, and Albany, and then we will continue on to another 18 towns in short order. Fiber networks are very expensive, but essentially, we get to build a network that would typically cost $10 million or more for just a few million dollars, sorry. The NEK wins, and we get to build a sustainable business based on monthly and yearly subscriptions. In other words, long-term recurrent revenue. This is a steady and profitable model. So offering services with no caps on broadband use and no limits on phone calls, we expect we're going to get high adoption. With success, we intend to further expand to 500 miles of routes and 30 towns. But the money we're raising now is not for that. It's to speed our expansion to the initial 200 miles in 22 towns. We're seeking convertible debt investments of $2,500 and up to gather $500,000 for our $3 million projected need. I'll try to answer any questions you might have now and anytime, and I encourage you to learn more from our investor pages at milkmoneyvt.com and our company pages at kingdomfiber.com. Thanks very much for your interest.
Okay, Michael, we just got a question that popped in. The question is, what are the benefits of fiber?
Benefits of fiber. Okay, so there are 5 or 6 ways to do internet, to deliver internet services. There's the most typical are DSL, which is over phone lines, or cable modem from companies like Comcast, or satellite internet, or fixed wireless like local wireless ISPs. Each of them have advantages and disadvantages. The difference between fiber and all the others is its enormous capacity. A little fiber, a little glass fiber smaller than the human hair, can carry thousands and thousands of gigabits of information. I think I may have gotten that wrong, but it's certainly terabits, which are million bits. All the other media can carry in the tens or hundreds at most. Most of them are in the tens, or even the single numbers of megabits. So the capacity of fiber is enormous, and another advantage of it is that it's totally stable. There's no variations due to weather or other kinds of instability, and it's totally upgradable so that you never have to replace the fiber. You just change some equipment at two ends. I can go on, but I think I've covered enough of it. I hope.
Okay. All right, we have a couple more questions for you. One question, if it's a poorer area, demographically, I guess, will the people be able to afford the service?
Yes, absolutely. Because of this fantastic advantage we have of the state network that we do not have to build, we do not have to raise the money for, we're able to build this fiber network, which normally costs $10 million or more, for just 2 or 3 million. And as a result, it's similar to building a wireless network over a similar area. And it's actually less expensive than the VTEL one, which was $116 million over the state. So because our investment is much lower, we'll be able to offer our services at a reasonable price. They'll be comparable to every other service, except much more bandwidth for the same amount of money.
Okay, great. Thanks for that question, Karen. And the final question, do you know how many people in the Northeast Kingdom you will be bringing your fiber to?
We're going to be bringing initially to 4,000 to 5,000 locations in the first year and a half to 2 years. We're expecting that we will probably get 1,500 or so of them as customers initially, and over time we'll grow. There's a similar network in East Central Vermont. It's called EC Fiber, and they're seeing 60, 70% adoption rates, and we're projecting very modest conservative numbers like 30 to 40%. So we're pretty confident in those numbers.
Okay, great. Well, if any other questions come in, we'll shoot them over to you, but thanks very much, and we're going to bring up the next presenter, Mike. All right, our next presenter I'm going to bring up is Hillary Hoffman.
Welcome.
Good evening. Sorry, tell me when I should get going here, Michael. Good evening. My name is Hillary Hoffman. I'm the owner of the Vermont Hay Company, based in Greensboro, Vermont. And Michael of Kingdom Fiber just gave a very good description of the economic situation of our northeast corner of the state. I started this company in 2012, and because of the situation as Michael described it, I had to be very creative in finding employment where I live. To back up a bit, give you a little background of how I got to where I am with the Vermont Hay Company. I am a born and bred Vermonter, lived away for 20 years, was in Washington, D.C. My husband and I were both traveling globally extensively. Our second son was on the way, and we made a pretty almost overnight decision to pull the plug on it and move back to Vermont. And we found ourselves in beautiful Greensboro in the Kingdom, and haven't regretted that a bit. However, when the boys were a bit older, I did want to work, and I found that challenging, given that there's not many jobs either well paid or otherwise. My launch product with the company is called Tim's Real Easter Basket Grass, and the concept came about. For years when the boys were small, I took hay out of the neighbor's barn. They have a big dairy farm, and used it instead of that really horrible, awful plastic colored grass that's so commonly used. And because of that, I came up with this product with very beautiful, very chic packaging. It's been received very well. It's sold in every state across the country from Maine to Hawaii, with the exception of Alaska. It's an upmarket product, and it's been sold in Whole Foods, Williams-Sonoma, Dean & DeLuca, Wegmans, Terrain, a lovely store online owned by Urban Outfitters, and many independent boutique type stores. Came out at a good time. People are starting to understand the dangers of plastic, how toxic they are, and they don't want plastic products near their kids. And people are also realizing the extreme environmental problems that plastic is causing. As Greenpeace has pointed out, every bit of plastic ever produced still exists. So it was off time to bring this out. I'm now at a very exciting place with the company, and that is I am rolling out 2 products to annualize it. As what has kind of evolved here with the company is gone from Easter basket grass to looking at hay as a raw material, and thinking creatively of what other things we can use it for beyond what it's always been used for, which is, of course, feedstock for animals. So the next product I have coming out is called Vermont Crafting Grass. The design work has been done. It's beautiful. It's more of a down market product. It's for folks who are crafty, who do things such as fall decorations, cornucopias, maybe use it in a Christmas creche, use it for gift baskets or fruit baskets, and so on. A couple of years ago, I was approached by Michael's, a very large crafting store. I believe they have 1,500 stores across the country, and they wanted Tim's Real Easter Basket Grass. I did not want to sell to them. I thought it would undercut my chances with the upscale stores. But now with the second product coming out, I will revisit that with them and ask if we present to them the possibility of testing it out in some of their stores. The other market possibilities for the Vermont Crafting Grass is Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, and between those 3 national retailers, that's about 3,000 stores. And that does not include the thousands of little independent crafting stores. So it's a huge market, I believe. I do have a couple competitors in this area, but where I stand out is I'm green. It's socially responsible. It's creating jobs up here in the Northeast Kingdom. It's made in America. And the competitors, the one I'm thinking about is comes in from Mexico. It's real straw, but it looks so fake to me. So I don't know what it is really. My third product, very different from the first 2, and I'm extremely excited about this product. Because the R&D on it, research development, has leapfrogged. Probably I'm 2 years ahead of where I thought I would be on this. This product's called Hay Pack, and it's sustainable hay-based packaging. This is a great product to be rolled out at this time. The estimates for that market, sustainable packaging, for 2018, I believe, is $244 billion. Even a teeny tiny slice of that market is extremely lucrative, as you can imagine. I am working with the Wisconsin Institute of Sustainable Technology at the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point. They have done a lot of work with packaging and paper products, and they have a lot of industry, and they work with industry to develop them. The technology is in place to create the type of packaging that I want to create. So what we were beginning to do is basically refine it and to see how it can best be produced to make it viable to compete with the main competitor, which would be a wood-based, paper-based sustainable packaging. Well, wood is certainly more sustainable than plastic and so on, but obviously trees take years to regenerate, whereas hay, you can take a couple cuttings a summer off a field, and of course you can do that every summer. So my product will be greener than even what is considered the green packaging. And another factor making this very opportune is as the supply-demand factors are impacting wood pulp and increasing price per tonnage, this is opening possibilities for other fibers, such as hay, to be used in this type of packaging and making it viable. This is a tremendous project. I'm most interested in creating an alternative to those horrible styrofoam peanuts that always come in packages, and this would be hay-based peanuts, which would be fully compostable and far less of an environmental nightmare. Anyway, again, this is an exciting time for me with annualizing the company to achieve greater profitability, and I'm working with Milk Money to raise that capital and to increase my capacity and ability to roll these products out in a more timely manner. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I'm so glad I could share this with you.
Okay, thanks, Hillary. I think I have a question that came in here. Let me check. Is there the possibility of allergies when using this as a packing product?
I'm not 100. I think not, but we're not 100% sure. The packaging we are developing, the raw material is really broken down into a slurry and then mixed with a binder, and essentially that encases the hay and would essentially smother anything that would give off something that would cause an allergy. But so I can't answer 100% for sure, but I would say it's extremely unlikely.
Okay.
In fact, I can't market, and that's an important thing to know, because it's not going to work without that. But I mean, it can be allergy, any problems with allergies with it. So, but in talking with the engineers, it's basically the hay so beaten down and then mixed with a binder that none of the what would trigger an allergy is present.
Okay, a couple other ones. Same question from Karen. I also saw that on an organic seal on the product. So it is organic, and that is something people will pay extra for.
Tim's Real Easter Basket Grass is organic. It's a very nice grass. I buy the hay from a grower up in Canaan, way up in the kingdom. It's a high concentration of timothy, and I chose timothy grass because it's the most fragrant of all the forage grasses.
Okay, great. With Easter around the corner, where can I buy Easter basket grass?
Let me see. This year it's online with Williams Sonoma. It's being sold as a large chain, kind of a. I have never heard of them. They approached me, but they're a big kind of sort of upscale chain on the West Coast called Cost Plus World Market, and a few of the co-ops in Vermont, and also online with Terrain. Terrain's a really lovely store, and now I'm blanking. I could make sure I could get a box out, or wherever this question is coming from.
Okay.
I'll get you a box.
Right on. We'll email out opportunity for the people that ask a question there. One last one. HAPAC sounds very exciting. Do you have any other competitors in the space?
Any competitors? What?
It says HAPAC sounds very exciting. Do you have any other competitors in that space?
Well, the competitors would be the wood-based. I'm looking at a particular type of packaging, and that is, it's really, to some sense, the same technology, breaking down the fiber and so on. But the competitor is wood-based, and they, again, the pulp per ton is going up because of supply demand issues, and the market is so huge that wood-based, this type of packaging, wood-based, we simply don't have. I mean, the globe doesn't have that capacity to supply it. I mean, the demand is that high, and which is giving an opportunity for other fibers to come into play.
Okay, great. Well, I think those are all the questions. Hillary, thank you very much. Again, everyone, if you need any additional information, you could click on the link, the Milk Money link up on top, or you could email over the folks at Milk Money and they'll help you out. Thank you very much, Hillary.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, for the final presentations, I'm going to bring Janice back up to the screen here. So let me get her up here. And I'll bring myself down.
Okay. And do we have a video for Vermont Evaporator Company, Mike? I think we might.
I don't believe so. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Sorry about that. That's me. I might need two screens. We don't. I never got that. So
okay.
We don't.
I'll just talk.
I just have that one. Yeah, just talk. I have that one slide. I'll put up in a second.
Okay, great. Okay, so Vermont Evaporator Company is they're based in Montpelier. It is a husband and wife team. They had an idea for getting into their own backyard maple sugaring as a family. They're a young family, have two young kids. The husband is an engineer by training and is now a patent attorney in Montpelier. And his wife, Kate, is also an attorney. And they just started just trying to experiment with sugaring in their own backyard and realized that to boil down their sap was a pretty laborious process if you don't have any kind of equipment to do it. And they looked into getting kind of a commercial size evaporator, and really what's available on the market right now is it's so big you'd have to build a sugar shack around it. It's big and pretty complex. So Justin set about to design his own evaporator, and that's what they have done. And you can see a picture of it there. I think it's an illustration. It's basically a 55-gallon drum that they have fitted with a pipe that takes all of the ashes, because this is a wood burning. It's a wood burning unit, and it keeps the ashes out of your syrup. And you can. It's got the pan on top for you to do your evaporating on. You can tell I'm not really a sugarer because I'm probably not using the terms precisely. But it's perfect for those folks who are tapping their own trees and don't want to boil their sap in their kitchen and make a big sticky mess, or have to do it on their propane, maybe their propane gas grill in the backyard. It takes a lot of propane, from what I hear, to do this. So they this is a great story that these guys they made 12 of these right around this time last year. Made 12 of these, one for themselves, put the rest up on Craigslist, and within days they sold like that. So they knew they were kind of onto something, and they have since. I can't remember exactly how many they've sold, but I know they have sold in 20 states across the country, from Maine and Vermont all the way over to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and a lot of places in between. So they realize they are really onto something here. They're kind of getting in on the whole do-it-yourself movement, much like we see with home brewing and that kind of thing. So it's great for those folks who want to try home sugaring. Their plans are to expand their product line. Right now, with they call their unit the Sapling. They would like to make it into a unit that can be used year-round for other things. Putting on a smoking attachment or turn into a pizza oven. They're also working on a propane unit. As I mentioned, the one right now is wood burning. So that's what the investment capital that they would like to raise through Milk Money will go towards building out their product line and continuing to expand their market. So the minimum investment that they are trying to, or the minimum investment to get in on this is $250, and they're going like gangbusters, doing some good stuff. So that is Vermont Evaporator Company, and I think then we will move on to the next one. Can't remember who's next. I think it's the Creamery, right? Do we have a slide for Vermont for the Creamery? I don't think we do.
I do. There are no slides for Green Mountain and Burlington, England. We don't have slides for those.
All right, so I'm just talking then. All righty. So Green Mountain Organic Creamery, also you might know them as Kimblebrook Farm, is a dairy farm that has been in the DeVos family, Cheryl and JD DeVos. It's been in their family, I want to say 20 or 30 years. Cheryl and JD have been running it, I think, for maybe the last 10 or 15 years. They converted the dairy from just a traditional dairy to organic milk many years ago, and have found an ever-increasing market for their organic milk. And as the market has continued to grow and they're seeing the demand for their organic milk, they have, in the last year or so, they have started building out a production facility, a bottling facility in Heinsberg, kind of in the same place where Vermont Smoke and Cure and a lot of other cool entrepreneurial food businesses are kind of growing right there in Heinsberg. So they are now they're bottling their own milk, chocolate milk, butter, cream. They do a lot of commercial sales also to chocolatiers and things like that, and starting to expand into other products like iced tea and lemonade. So they are looking to raise capital to just help continue to expand their market. I recently heard Cheryl DeVos is the one who's running the company. She said that they are selling their milk as far away as New York City, as well as pretty much all around Vermont, and getting into mainstream grocery stores, as well as the co-ops and natural food stores. So they're really doing a lot of good things for perpetuating Vermont's dairy tradition and by capitalizing on the strength and the demand of organic milk products. So the minimum investment for their campaign, ooh, I should have that one in my head. I believe it's $1,000. Louisa, shake your head if I got that right or not wrong. You don't remember either. It's all on the website. I think it's $1,000. So that is Vermont organic cream. Oh, thank you, Louisa. It's $2,500 is the minimum for their investment. I should mention also the creamery is they have structured their investment in the form of a royalty agreement. So unlike all of the other ones that we've talked about so far that are convertible debt, they are offering royalty, or what's also known as revenue share, which means that when they reach a certain level of profitability, which they are projecting in their financials, and this is all in their offering document, they will return your investment plus a percentage interest from the profits over time, and it's projected to return about 7-8% over time, and that's how you would be repaid, is through it's basically like profit sharing or revenue sharing. There's a lot of really great detail and explanation of how that royalty arrangement works in their offering document on their campaign page. And then our last company is the Burlington Herb Clinic. It is a co-op. It's a worker-owned co-op owned by, I think they said they're now up to 8 herbalists who have joined forces and are occupying a space that they share with Urban Moonshine and the Rail Yard Apothecary down in Burlington's waterfront, right on the rail yard. And they are not only offering herbal services, and working closely with not only alternative care therapies, alternative therapies. They also do a lot of work with the UVM Medical Center and traditional medical folks to combine both alternative and conventional therapies, especially in working a lot with cancer patients and those kinds of things. So they're providing a really great service that has been lacking in the Burlington area for a really well qualified herbal medical care. And at the same time, they're also helping to revitalize the rail yard down in Burlington. It's down off of Battery Street and Maple Street, and starting to grow their own herbs right there and kind of green up that whole area down there on the waterfront, which is great. They are our smallest campaign. It's a pretty modest campaign that they're looking to just raise the capital to help them pay for the fit up of their beautiful offices that they are also subletting to other care providers like doulas, massage therapists, acupuncturists, and that kind of thing. So that's an additional revenue stream that they have coming in, but they need to pay for the fit up of that space. Since they are a co-op, they can actually offer equity. So this is our one equity offering on the site. It's non-voting preferred stock, and the minimum investment into the herb clinic is $250. So with that, I think I'm just going to leave it there. And a few last points I want to make before, if there are other questions, if you want to shoot those in, and Michael can let me know. I just want to reiterate that all of these offerings are open only to Vermont residents. So you have to go to the Milk Money website, prove that you are indeed a Vermont resident by uploading a picture of your driver's license, and then you are good to go to make your investments. So any other general questions? If not, we're going to finish right on time here. I want to thank everyone. Those are great questions that folks were asking. So thank you so much for your interest in investing local and checking out Milk Money. Thank you so much to Michael and Hillary, who did a great job presenting their companies. Oh, and I see Mike. Are you?
One question came in. How does Milk Money make money?
Oh, that is a good question. So we make money. We charge a fee, an upfront flat fee to the entrepreneurs who post their campaigns up on our site. Um, Unlike a site like Kickstarter or even some of the other national crowdfunding sites that they take a percentage of what a company raises, after they raise it, they'll take, 5, 10, some percent. We don't do that. On principle, for one thing, we like to be able to say that all the money that you're investing is going to the company that you're investing in. So all that money is going direct to them because they've already just paid us an upfront flat fee to use the site and for our time to help them get their campaign up and running. So there's no cost to the investor whatsoever, no cost to register, and no processing fee or anything like that. So all the money that you invest goes directly to those entrepreneurs and helps them grow their business.
Okay, that's all the questions I see.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, and please, visit the website, contact us anytime. Louisa and I are happy to answer any questions you might have, and have a good night.
All right. Good night.